Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. So on this video, just going to be giving you some latest news regarding Jesse Lingard. Then I'm going to be giving you a bit more additional information on Jadon Sancho. So let's start with the news on Lingard. So reportedly, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants Jesse Lingard to stay at Manchester United. Because obviously, Solskjaer is an admirer of Jesse Lingard because obviously Solskjaer coached Jesse Lingard as a youth player, and Jesse Lingard has been part of the club for several years. But I think that Manchester United may have to sell him in this summer transfer window. He did say not too long ago that we have put the player up for sale. And I think, if we was to sell him in this summer transfer window, we would get at least £20 million for the player. Lingard has got just under a year left on his Man United contract, but the club do have an option to extend it for a further year. Now, reportedly the teams that are interested in him is Roma, Borussia Mönchengladbach and Newcastle. Lingard did score in our win against Lask in the last 16, and he also scored in our game against Leicester on the final day of the Premier League season. And when he did score against Leicester, that was his first goal for the football club since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first game in charge. By the way, I think Lingard is on like 100 grand a week at Manchester United. So that is the breaking news on him. Now let's delve into news on Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. So I think now the Jadon Sancho deal is collapsing because reportedly Jadon Sancho now is intending on staying at Borussia Dortmund for quite a while, because he has said he's happy to help young players develop at Borussia Dortmund. Now I did say, didn't I, Jadon Sancho will have to put a transfer request in at Dortmund to force a move to Manchester United. Now, obviously, throughout the course of this Jadon Sancho transfer saga, it has been Borussia Dortmund's asking price that has been the stumbling block. Because they have said several times of Dortmund, that they want over £100 million for the player and they remain ruthless over their valuation. And we have said we are not willing to smash our transfer record for the player. Now, I think Borussia Dortmund's valuation is around £108 million, and I think Dortmund have said that they want like £90 million up front, but we're only willing to pay like £60 or £70 million up front. But obviously, the other week it was looking very, very imminent that Jadon Sancho was going to be signing for Manchester United, and it was looking very, very imminent he was going to be our first signing in this summer transfer window, because you had Fabrizio Romano, who is a very reliable Italian journalist. He came out and said that negotiations between Manchester United and Borussia Dortmund were at an advanced stage, and he said that Sancho agreed personal terms with Man United, and he said he was set to sign a 5-year contract with the football club worth around £250,000 a week. But obviously no fee has come to an agreement. I said if we was willing to meet what Dortmund were demanding, Sancho would be our most expensive signing and the most expensive English player in history. But obviously he is on a pre-season with Dortmund, this Sancho. Obviously, Dortmund won their first pre-season game by 6-0 against Altach. And I think Jadon Sancho played around 45 minutes of that game. But obviously, with Sancho going to Switzerland on Monday when he boarded the plane, obviously, people then thought, Sancho to Manchester United is off in this summer transfer window, because Dortmund set their deadline. They said we had until the 10th of August to sign the player, which was obviously on Monday, and we've missed out. We missed out on that deadline and that. But I'm not going to fully disregard Sancho coming to Manchester United, because he's still a possibility chance that we can get a deal over the line. I said it's very imperative that we get him in, because he is our number one priority target, and he has been our number one priority target for a while. We first expressed our interest in the player in 2017. We're the only club now that are in for him anyway, because Liverpool are no longer in for him. Chelsea are no longer in for him. But Sancho has enjoyed 3 good years with Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, Dortmund, got him from Man City back in 2017 for just £8 million, so they got him for next to nothing. Sancho did enjoy 2 years with Man City, but the main explanation why he had to leave them is because he did not get assured any first team opportunities. And obviously, before he was at City, he was at Watford, and he was at Watford for several years. Now, don't forget Borussia Dortmund sporting director Michael Zorg. He came out recently and said that Sancho will stay at Borussia Dortmund, and the decision is final. And he said, he will not join Manchester United in this summer transfer window. And reportedly, his contract got extended secretly got extended, and this is what also Michael Zorg had mentioned. It got extended, his contract, until 2023. But it did say, didn't it, if we didn't obviously get Sancho by the 10th of August, it said that Dortmund, were willing to offer Jadon Sancho a new contract. Like I've said, Tino, we have looked at quite a few alternatives to Sancho because these cheaper solutions in him, like I said, we've recently been looking at Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona. We've been looking at Douglas Costa from Juventus. We've been looking at Vinicius Jr. We've also looked at Federico Chiesa recently. We've looked at Rabbi Matondo from Schalke. We've looked at Thiago Almeida. I think we've also looked at Gareth Bale as an alternative. We looked at Ferran Torres at one point. Wilfried Zaha. So these, so many alternatives that we are looking at. Kingsley Coman from Bayern Munich is another one. We've inquired about getting him on loan. But obviously, we made a promise to Sancho if he was to sign for the club this summer. We said, literally that we are willing to give him the number 7 because obviously, we have got number 7 vacant at the moment. But we have had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations. We really, really have. But Sancho did actually say that he wants to come to Manchester United, and Borussia Dortmund are known as a selling football club. They have let quite a few of their players go to the Premier League in recent years. There's also players that have let go who didn't go to the Premier League. But they've also recruited some good players in recent years. The other week they got Jude Bellingham in from Birmingham for around £20 million. They got Erling Haaland in January. Julian Brantford and Hazard. There are also other players that they've brought in recent years. Obviously, they got Emre Can permanently. But yeah, so I'll be very, very disappointed, if we cannot get Jadon Sancho on the board. But we are not giving up on this transfer for Sancho. Ed Woodward's come out and recently said that this Jadon Sancho transfer saga will continue to drag on for the entirety of this summer transfer window and that. But yeah, that is the latest news on that. But big decisions have got to be made in this summer transfer window of obviously what players we're going to recommend in and what players we are going to get rid of. Like I've said to you, I expect Lingard to go because obviously, like I said, he isn't going to get assured first team opportunities. Even if he's to stay, Lingard, he won't get assured first team opportunities. Pereira, I also expect him to leave the football club. Well, whether he does or not, I don't know, but I want him to leave the football club, personally speaking, because I don't think he's good enough to represent Man United, and Pereira doesn't even get in the team enough. Since the arrival of Bruno Fernandes, Pereira's found game time difficult. Also to Chris Smalling, there's still a possible chance that he could leave in this summer transfer window. Even though he is now back at Manchester United, Chris Smalling was out on loan with Roma, wasn't he? Don't forget. He was out on loan with Roma. Obviously, Roma paid around 2.7 million to get him on loan last summer. And Solsajaer did reveal that he was in regular contact with Chris Smalling whilst he was on loan with Roma. But Solsajaer did insist that Chris Smalling still has a long-term future at Manchester United. This is, what he had said. But it's recently said that Roma's still looking to get him. Inter Milan have also expressed their interest. I think we want around £23 million to let Smalling go permanently. But Smalling's been a long-serving player at Man United. He's enjoyed a good 9 or 10 years with the football club. We did get him from Fulham back in 2010. Phil Jones, I also expect him to leave the football club because Phil Jones doesn't get in the team a lot now anyway. Phil Jones is out with a knee injury at the moment. Phil Jones has endured around, is it 9? I think he's endured 9 years at Man United. He's approached his 10th year at the football club, but he has been with us since the Ferguson era. I expect us to get rid of Rojo permanently. He has been out on loan with Estudiantes. I think Rojo recently had a private chat with Solskjaer saying that he wanted to remain at Estudiantes. Obviously, we got Rojo back in 2014, was it, from Sporting Lisbon. We paid around £16 million for him. We paid around £16 million for him. And he's enjoyed a good 5.5, 6 years at Man United, but there's no point Rojo coming back to the club because obviously he won't get in the team. Rojo's under contract at Man United until 2021, so he's got like a year left on his current contract. Diego Dalot, I also expect him to leave the football club because I don't think he's good enough to represent Manchester United. Dalot only made 11 appearances in all competitions in the league this season. In all competitions, not the league. I think he only made, one start in the Premier League. But don't forget, Diego Dalot had back-to-back injuries earlier on in the season. Obviously, we did get Diego Dalot in Jose Mourinho's final transfer window. We paid like 19 million for him from Porto. And Dalot's got a contract with the club till 2023. Does recently say that Everton are interested in Dalot, and Everton believe they can get him for around £10 million. Obviously, Dalot is our backup right back to Wan-Bissaka. So I also expect him to leave the club. Some United fans will say we need to get rid of Juan Mata in this summer transfer, and I don't think we will. I think Juan Mata will be at the football club for next season. Obviously, Juan Mata doesn't get in the team a lot, but when he does get his chances now, he does make an impact. He's not actually done well in the Europa League so far. Did well against Copenhagen when he came on. Did very, very well in the last game in the second leg, got 2 assists. But, this has been Juan Mata's 6th year at Manchester United. Obviously, we got him from Chelsea back in 2014 for just under £40 million. Like I said, we're also going to loan players out. Obviously, there's been a lot of narrative saying that Tahith Chon's going to be loaned out. Reportedly, he's going to be joining Werder Bremen on a 2-season loan so he can get regular first-team football. Tahith Chon's agent has confirmed that Tahith Chon does want to go to the Bundesliga. I think Tahith Chon has only made 12 first-team appearances for Man United since he broke into the senior squad. And it was only back in March that Tahith Chon signed a 2-year contract on Man United to keep at the club until 2022. I think James Garner could also be loaned out. Dylan Levitt could be loaned out. There's a possibility chance as well that Daniel James could be loaned out because towards the end of the Premier League season, Daniel James weren't getting starts. Obviously, Mason Greenwood was getting there ahead of him. Yeah, so big decisions have definitely got to be made. We've also got contract decisions to make. I know we've extended a lot of players' contracts since Solskjaer came in. But we've still got around 7 or 8 players' contracts that are due to expire next year. Like I said as well, Solskjaer has got a goalkeeping decision to make. Because obviously Solskjaer did say prior to the game against FC Copenhagen that he's facing a dilemma with 3 of our senior goalkeepers, and he said it will be difficult for us to keep De Gea, Romero and Henderson all at the football club for next season. I think what Solskjaer needs to do is he's put Dean Henderson as our number 1 for next season. Dean Henderson's made it clear that if he isn't assured to be number 1, he wants to leave Manchester United in this summer transfer window. But Solskjaer did recently say that Dean Henderson is not yet ready to become Manchester United's number 1 goalkeeper. But Dean Henderson has now got that experience behind him. He's enjoyed 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. Did recently say that would offer Dean Henderson a new deal worth around £60,000 a week. De Gea, he's been our number 1 for several years. De Gea's been long serving at Man United. He's enjoyed like 9 seasons at the football club. He is now approaching his 10th year at Manchester United. But I think De Gea's had 7 good years out of the 9 years he's been with us, because in the last couple of years at least, he has been a liability, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he has made. De Gea has made 404 appearances for the football club in all competitions, and he has made 300 odd appearances in the Premier League. Solskjaer was talking about him a couple of weeks before the season finished, saying that he has been the best goalkeeper in the world for the last 9 or 10 years. But at the football club, De Gea has won everything domestically, and he has won individual awards reflecting on his good performances over the years. But if we was to sell De Gea in this summer transfer window, or we was to sell him in, the next year or two, we'd still get more than the 18 odd million pounds that were paid for him from Atletico Madrid. If we were to sell him in this summer transfer window, I think we'd probably get around £60 million for him. But when De Gea does leave Manchester United anyway, I think he'll go back to Spain. Don't forget, back in 2015, he was close to joining Real Madrid, but due to a fax machine, the deal never materialised. And obviously, last September, David De Gea signed a 4-year deal with the club worth £375,000 a week. Obviously, Romero. Obviously, if Dean Henderson comes back, then obviously Sergio Romero is going to be our third choice goalkeeper. And that means, he could leave Manchester United. Romero is now in his 30s. Obviously, he does play in our cup games. I think we'd probably demand around 5 or 6 million from Romero if we was to sell him in this summer transfer window. Romero has got like a year left on his Man United contract, is it, or just under a year? But the club have an option to extend it for a further year. So there you go. But Solskjaer's already outlined his transfer plans. He's instructed our board to go and get his preferred targets. There's been so many players on our agenda, and I think Solskjaer has said he wants Manchester United to make at least 3 signings in this summer transfer window. Because obviously, next season we want to be up there with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. And I said next season Solskjaer's going to have bigger expectations to exceed. So this is why I said next season is the big test for the Norwegian. And next season is going to be his second full season at the football club. But I think Solskjaer did say, didn't he, at the start of his managerial tenure, he said he wanted to make around 9 signings at Man United. He agreed this with Mike Phelan. And so far, Solskjaer's made 4 permanent signings at the football club and spent just over £200 million. And I've got to say, I have seen improvements under Solskjaer. Like I said, our recruitment's really, really improved under him. I think he's also promoted the youth very, very well throughout the course of the season. I think Solskjaer's approach to the big games throughout the course of the season have been very, very good. Definitely, players have improved under him, the top players and that. Don't get me wrong, there's still room for improvement at Manchester United. I still think there's certain players that have got to improve. I think there's still players that have got to improve. I think there's aspects of our game that have still got to improve. Maybe Solskjaer's decision making's got to improve a bit more, because there's still some games where he's being very tactically naive. But there's obviously been some games throughout the course of the season where he has showed a lot of tactical flexibility. But we've obviously seen an upturn in form since January. Obviously, we're unbeaten in our last 14 league games. We haven't lost in the league since Burnley, which is very, very good. And don't forget as well, we went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions until Chelsea beaten us in the FA Cup semi-final and that. But I've got to say, Solskjaer so far has exceeded expectations in his first full season at the club. Obviously, we got qualification for the Champions League, and I did say how important Champions League qualification was for for our players, attracting players, and for the financial structure. We also finished 3rd, which I thought was an absolute fantastic achievement. And obviously, we have progressed to 3 semi-finals. We got to the EFL Cup semi-final, lost to City. We got to the FA Cup semi-final, lost to Chelsea, and now we are into the Europa League semi-final against Sevilla. That is on Sunday. But that is going to be a big test for Manchester United, because that's not going to be an easy game against Sevilla. Obviously, Sevilla recently beat Wolves in the quarterfinals by 1-0. But yeah, Solskjaer did recently say, winning the Europa League as Manchester United manager would be one of his greatest achievements. So what he means is it would surpass 1999. But we are the favourites to win the Europa League. But, if we do win the Europa League, it will be our first trophy under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. And it will be our first trophy in over 3 years. So it will end that drought. And it will be our second Europa League because we've won the Europa League once. We won it back in 2017 under Jose Mourinho. We did beat Ajax in the final by 2-0. So now the Europa League is the focus. I really, really do want us to win it. But, Solskjaer's actually, confirmed his plans. For the game against Sevilla. And he's done something to ensure that we will get to the final. He's basically, said our players must use hurt from our other semi-final defeats and take it into this game against Sevilla. But it's going to be interesting to see how he approaches it. I think he's definitely going to go with his strongest 11. Probably will make a couple of changes from the 1-0 win against Copenhagen recently. Last time we played Sevilla was back in the last 16 of the Champions League in 2018. Surprisingly, we got knocked out. We did lose it by 2-1. The other Europa League semi-final is Inter Milan against Shakhtar Donetsk. So I think it's probably going to be a Manchester United Inter Milan final, and what a final that's going to be. Obviously, if that final does happen, we'll see Young, Lukaku, and Sanchez reuniting with Manchester United and that. But yeah. But I personally do believe that, Manchester United will win the Europa League. I really, really do. And like I said, Solskjaer has been at Manchester United now over a year. Over a year and a half. And he has been permanent Manchester United manager for around, 16 and a half months. But I said to you, didn't I, Solskjaer does deserve at least another season at Manchester United, even if we hadn't got qualification for the Champions League. I still said he deserved another season at the football club. Even if, he hadn't have exceeded expectations because, it is a transition period and it has been a transition period for a while, hasn't it? And like I said, there's only 5 players that are his so far who he's brought in. Let's put into the equation. Solskjaer's inheriting players here from the Jose Mourinho era. Still a few players here from the Van Gaal era. And there's still matter here from the David Moyes era. And still a few players here from the Alex Ferguson era. But actually, the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's and that. And, Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. Because obviously, since Ferguson left, we sacked Moyes, we sacked Van Gaal, and we have sacked Jose Mourinho. And I believe, we can get back to being a competitive elite level football club under Solskjaer, but I still don't know if he is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. Obviously, time will tell. I'm hopeful we can win a title under him. And if we do, it will be our 21st title in total because as it stands at the moment, we've won 20 titles and 13 of them are Premier League. So as it stands at the moment, we are the most successful team in Premier League history. But we have not won the Premier League since 2013, so we haven't won it for 7 years. We haven't done that. But throughout the course of the Premier League season, Solskjaer has made a lot of rotation in the squad. That's reflected on the injuries, though, that Man United have had. But obviously, there was a period where Solskjaer went with the exact same team for 5 games in a row in the Premier League, and that's the first time we've done that since February 1993. But I want Solskjaer's managerial tenure to work out at the football club. I really, really do, because, he was a great player for the football club. Enjoyed 11 good years at United. And obviously now he has got that managerial experience behind him because, he's been here over a year and a half, and, Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career in that, And I think Solskjaer's just got under 2 years left now on his current contract at the club. But yeah, that's mainly everything to update you with. You already know the news regarding Paul Pogba. Obviously, he's going to be signing a new contract at Manchester United. I think contract talks are expected to happen after the Europa League. I expect Pogba to sign a 4 or a 5 year deal at the club, so it ends the uncertainty over his future. But I'm very delighted that we're going to be keeping Paul Pogba at Manchester United, because we'd find it hard to get a replacement of his calibre and that. But at one point, it was looking very imminent he was going to be leaving the football club. Left back, I think Luke Shaw will remain our first choice left back for next season, because obviously, he's more experienced than Brandon Williams and that. Anthony Martial will keep him in the number 9, which is centrally. He's done very, very well in that central position throughout the course of the season. Obviously, Rashford will stay out wide. Igalo, I think we've got a decision to make on him when it comes to towards the end of his loan. I think we'll probably just let him go back to Shanghai Shenhua, because we did extend his loan before the resumption of the season, didn't we? Until January 2021, but there's no option or there's no obligation to buy. Don't forget, Odin Igalo was our top goal scorer in the FA Cup this season. We got him in on deadline day in January. We got him in as a cover-up to Marcus Rashford, didn't we? Don't forget. Yeah. And the only 3 injuries we've got now is Luke Shaw, Phil Jones and Alex Tuanzebe, and I think they are going to be back for next season. They are going to be back for next season now. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on this channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.